Do you ever walk away from a fun night with friends and feel like you need 2 days to recover? That used to confuse me. I'd enjoy the moment, laugh, talk, connect, but by the next morning, I was drained. The world calls this introversion, like it's something to fix. Just be more outgoing, they say, as if flipping a switch could change your wiring. But what if our quiet nature isn't a flaw? What if it's actually our greatest strength? For years, I tried to jam myself into an extrovert-shaped hole. It was like trying to charge an Android phone with an iPhone cable. No matter how hard I pushed it was the wrong fit. Think about it. In a world that never stops talking, deep listening is rare. In a culture obsessed with instant reactions, taking time to process is a superpower. Yet, we're taught to see these qualities as weaknesses. I remember asking myself over and over, why do I need so much alone time? Why do certain environments leave me completely drained? Why can't I just be normal, like everyone else seems to be? The answer wasn't in another self-help book. It wasn't in a personality hack. It came from a single question, one that would completely change how I saw myself. Chapter 1. The Pressure to Change. It starts early. Why are you so quiet? You should speak up more. From classrooms designed for extroverts to open-plan offices with zero privacy, our world keeps telling us to change. Grades are tied to participation. Careers are judged by networking skills. Society celebrates the loud, the bold, the constantly social. But here's a fact: research shows introverts make up nearly half the population. So why are we still made to feel like the odd ones out? This creates a dangerous cycle. We push ourselves past our natural limits. We ignore our need to recharge. We judge ourselves for needing recovery time. And, slowly, we disconnect from our authentic selves. I remember sitting in meetings, forcing myself to speak just to look engaged, even when I had nothing meaningful to add. I'd show up to every social event, burning through my energy reserves because I believed success required constant visibility. I was doing everything the world told me to do and feeling worse by the day. Here's the irony. When we try to be more extroverted, we actually weaken our natural strengths. Deep thinking, careful observation, meaningful connection. It's like asking an owl to hunt at noon. You're fighting your design and losing your edge. Chapter 2. The Breaking Point. Mine came after a week of back-to-back networking events. On paper, I was doing everything right, pushing through discomfort, putting myself out there. But inside, I was miserable. Have you ever smiled so long your cheeks hurt? Nodded through a conversation while your mind begged for silence? Checked your watch, calculating how many more hours of fun you had left? That was my reality. One night, I collapsed onto my couch, so depleted I couldn't form sentences. My mind was foggy. My body felt heavy. Even turning on the TV was too much. That's when it hit me something had to change. Not the world, not other people's expectations. Me, my relationship with myself. We've all had those social hangover moments, wondering, what's wrong with me? While scrolling past pictures of people thriving in the very environments that drain us. The breaking point looks different for everyone. For some, it's a health scare that forces a hard stop. For others, it's burnout at work. And for many, it's the widening gap between who we pretend to be and who we really are. Painful as they are, these breaking points come with a hidden gift. They force us to question the path we're on. And here's something I noticed. We never ask whether extroverts should try being more introverted. So why is the push always one way? That thought led me to the question that would change everything. Chapter 3. The question. It was deceptively simple. Just 5 words that rewired my entire understanding of myself. What energizes me versus depletes me. Not, how can I become more extroverted? Not, how do I stop being awkward? Not, how do I crush networking events? This question didn't try to change my nature. It honored it. The brilliance. It's neutral. It doesn't label introversion as good or bad. It doesn't judge your experiences. It simply asks you to notice your energy, your most precious and limited resource. When I started asking it, the answers surprised me. Some social situations actually energized me. Deep one-on-one conversations, collaborating on meaningful projects, teaching something I cared about. Others were consistently draining. Large networking events, open office layouts, endless group hangouts with no real purpose. That single question created a whole new path. Instead of fighting against my nature, I began working with it. Instead of measuring myself against others, I tuned into my own energy system. Instead of chasing generic advice, you start creating strategies that match your unique wiring. Think about that for a second. What if there's nothing wrong with you? What if introversion isn't a wall to climb over, but a powerful operating system to optimize? What if the solution isn't changing who you are, but designing a life that works with who you already are? Chapter 4. Identity Beyond Labels. Once I began asking what energizes me versus what depletes me, I noticed something fascinating. Introversion isn't all or nothing. It's a spectrum, and it's situational. Some environments light me up, others drain me bone dry. It wasn't about avoiding all social interaction. It was about being strategic. When, how long, and with whom. A 3-hour dinner with 2 close friends. I'd leave feeling alive. 30 minutes of small talk in a crowded networking event. I'd need days to recover. Both are social situations, but their impact on my energy is completely different. The introvert-extrovert binary is too simple. The real question is, what specific activities fill your tank and which ones empty it? For me, deep one-on-one conversations refuel me. Small talk with strangers burns me out. So I started keeping an energy journal, tracking my energy levels through the day, and noting which activities, places, and people lifted or drained me. The patterns were eye-opening. I wasn't antisocial. I was selectively social. I wasn't low energy. My energy was simply directed inward, not outward. This approach moves you beyond labels to what actually matters, your unique energy equation. And honestly, it's like finally taking off shoes 2 sizes too small. You don't realize how much they were hurting until they're gone. Chapter 5. The Energy Management Revolution. Once you track what energizes you versus what drains you, you can design your life differently. This isn't about avoiding challenges. It's about strategic energy management. Think of social energy like a phone battery. Extroverts have the extended battery pack built in. We've got the standard battery. Needs more frequent charging. Neither is better. They're just different designs. But here's the thing. Most of us run on autopilot, completely unaware of our energy level until we crash. We push past warning signs. We power through, and then wonder why it takes 3 days to recover. The key. Know your personal battery capacity and what drains it fastest. For most introverts, the big 3 drains are environments with excessive stimulation, interactions with no depth or purpose, not enough alone time to process. I created a simple energy scale from 1 to 10. 10 is fully charged, 1 is completely depleted. I check in with myself during the day feeling like a 7. I can take that meeting. At a 4, I need to recharge before my next commitment. It's just like checking your phone battery. 70%. You're fine. 30%. Plug in soon. 10%. Danger zone, where clear thinking and quality connection are impossible. The hilarious truth. Introverts will stay at a gathering until they're at 1% battery and then wonder why they need days to recover. Learning to leave at 30% is a game changer. You bounce back faster. You maintain better relationships. And you actually enjoy social time more. Chapter 6. The Power of Depth. Society often confuses outspokenness with insight and quietness with a lack of engagement. But real depth, it often happens in silence. The introvert mind is built for nuance, connection making, and careful analysis. These qualities aren't just nice to have. In today's complex world, they're essential. Think about how many problems come from rushed decisions, shallow analysis, and reactive thinking. The world doesn't need more noise. It needs more depth. And depth is our natural territory. Research shows introverts often excel at problem solving, creative thinking, and empathetic understanding. We're not participating less. We're processing more. We're seeing connections others miss. We're considering angles that get lost in rapid-fire discussions. I used to apologize for needing time to think before responding. Now I see it for what it is, a strength. While others react, I reflect. While others speak first and think later, I wait and make sure what I say matters. Ever notice how introverts can stay silent in a meeting, then drop the one insight that changes the entire direction? That's depth over frequency. It's not about how often you speak. It's about the value you create when you do. The real question isn't, how can I speak more? It's, how can I create the conditions where my depth has impact? When you reframe quiet as depth, not deficit. Everything shifts. You stop apologizing for who you are. You start leveraging your natural strengths. Chapter 7. Strategic Social Connection. Contrary to the stereotype, introverts don't hate people. We hate draining interactions. The key: design social connections that energize, not deplete. Quality over quantity isn't just a preference. It's our operating system. When I stopped forcing myself into high-drain situations and focused on meaningful connections, instead, something surprising happened. My relationships improved. I wasn't showing up half-present and exhausted. I came to fewer interactions, but with more energy to truly engage. I listened better. I connected deeper. I enjoyed people more, because I wasn't mentally watching the clock, counting the minutes until I could leave. Here's the strategic approach. Identify your energizing people, the rare ones you can spend hours with and feel charged, not drained. Choose connection contexts that fit your energy style. Activity-based hangouts, quiet cafes, or one-on-one conversations. Build in recovery time before and after social events. The goal isn't isolation. It's sustainable connection. It's being fully present when you're with others, instead of constantly managing your depletion. It's quality over quantity, not just in relationships, but in your energy economy. And yes, let's address the elephant in the room. Sometimes you need to cancel plans. The key: do it rarely and respectfully, because creating sustainable social patterns sometimes means disappointing someone today so you can show up fully tomorrow. And here's the truth: most real friends would rather see you present and engaged occasionally than depleted and distant frequently. Chapter 8. Professional Power. Work environments. They're often built by extroverts for extroverts. Open offices. Constant collaboration. Impromptu. Got a minute? Brainstorming sessions. They can leave introverts drained and underperforming. But here's the twist: the very qualities introverts are wired for, careful analysis, deep focus, thoughtful communication, are becoming more valuable in the modern workplace, not less. The challenge isn't to fix those traits. It's to position them as the professional assets they are. When I stopped apologizing for needing quiet, focused time and started protecting it, my productivity doubled. When I stopped trying to network like an extrovert and built relationships through thoughtful follow-ups and value-driven conversations, my professional connections actually strengthened. The question that flipped my career trajectory was, how can I leverage my introvert strengths instead of compensating for them? Instead of fighting for airtime in meetings, I prepared insights in advance and delivered them when they mattered most. Every workplace has its own energy demands. Some roles naturally align with introvert strengths. Others require a strategy for sustainable energy management. The key is simple: design your work life with awareness instead of defaulting to extrovert-centric expectations. The irony: most successful introverts aren't thriving because they learn to act like extroverts. They're thriving because they created conditions where their natural wiring became a strategic advantage. They chose roles that leveraged their strengths. They built workflows that protected their energy. They communicated their needs clearly instead of silently burning out. Look closely and you'll notice many great leaders have strong introvert tendencies. They're the ones listening intently, reading the room, and then making the decisive move while everyone else is still competing for airtime. Chapter 9. Daily Rituals. Transforming your relationship with introversion isn't about one big breakthrough. It's built on daily practices. They're not complicated, but they require intention. A morning ritual is essential. Starting your day with reflection rather than instant stimulation sets an entirely different tone for everything that follows. Even 15 minutes of journaling, meditation, or simply sitting with your thoughts can act as an energy deposit, fueling you for the day ahead. I used to wake up and immediately check email, social media, and news, flooding my brain with noise before I'd even connected with myself. That single habit was quietly draining me before the day had even begun. Changing it changed everything. Now, I protect my first hour for inner connection before letting the outside world in. Strategic scheduling became my secret weapon. I book meetings with recovery time in between. I protect focused work blocks like gold, and I schedule my recharge time with the same seriousness as any other commitment. Your solitude isn't free time. It's essential restoration, the power source that makes all other activities possible. Environmental design matters too. Create spaces that protect your focus rather than fracture it. Use headphones as a social do not disturb sign when you need deep work. And find your third places, spots beyond home and work where you can quietly recharge. The end of day ritual is just as critical. It's the bridge between external stimulation and personal restoration. Maybe it's a walk, a creative hobby, or quiet time without screens. Without that transition, many introverts find their minds racing when they should be resting. And here's the funniest realization. We'll spend hours optimizing our schedules for productivity, but forget to plan for energy management, which is actually what drives productivity in the first place. When you design your day around energy rather than just tasks, everything changes. Chapter 10. The Transformed Life. The question what energizes me versus depletes me isn't just about introversion. It's about authentic living, designing a life that works with your nature instead of against it. The transformation doesn't happen overnight. You'll still have setbacks. You'll still overcommit sometimes. And yes, you'll still face a world that often misunderstands introversion. But with each choice that honors your energy needs, you build something far more important than a moment of relief. You build a life that's sustainable. When I finally stopped fighting my nature and started honoring it, everything shifted. My work improved. My relationships deepened. My creativity expanded. Not because I became someone else, but because I stopped trying to be someone I'm not. The beauty of this approach is its simplicity. You don't need a complex personality framework. You don't need endless self-analysis. You just need to ask, does this energize me or deplete me? And then design your life accordingly. Some people will misunderstand. They'll call your boundaries antisocial. They'll mistake your need for processing time as indecision. They'll interpret your depth as disengagement. But living authentically means accepting that not everyone will understand and making the right choices anyway. This journey isn't about limitation. It's about liberation. The real limitations were always the expectations that didn't match your design. Freedom comes from aligning your life with your nature. Power comes from leveraging your strengths instead of compensating for imagined weaknesses. So here's my invitation. Ask yourself every day, what energizes me and what depletes me? Track your answers. Honor what you discover. Design your life accordingly. Not because something in you is broken and needs fixing, but because something in you is right and deserves protecting. Honoring your introversion isn't about overcoming it. It's about running your life on the operating system you were born with and building a richer, more meaningful life because of it. The question that changed everything for me might just do the same for you.